This is Mac OS Ken.
How Trump tariffs could benefit India, the mystery of the rebooting iPhones, and helping airlines find your lost luggage. It is Tuesday, the 12th of November, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Incogni, helping you take back your personal data. Get 60% off an annual plan with code MacOSKen at incogni.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Tariffs telegraphed by the incoming Trump administration may quickly grow iPhone production in India. That is the supposition from that country's Economic Times. It's just a hunch, though likely not a bad one. The report says the president-elect threatened to impose tariffs of 60% to 100% on goods imported from China during his campaign. In light of that, the report says experts believe that if Trump carries out the tariff threats against Chinese exports to the U.S., Apple could look at shifting an additional large volume of iPhone production to India. The Cupertino company currently sees $15 billion to $16 billion worth of iPhones produced in India per year. Officials and experts tell the Economic Times that Apple could ramp that up to $30 billion annually over the next 2 years. Those experts, by the way, Nunya and Beeswax. They spoke to the paper on condition of anonymity, which is more than Apple did. The Cupertino company did not respond to the paper's request for comment. What is an inactivity reboot? It is apparently something iPhones are doing under iOS 18.1, but you seriously did not hear that from Apple. A story last week had police officers in Detroit suggesting that locked and powered down iPhones were secretly telling each other to reboot. Sounded hinky, so I ignored that story. Now, a piece from 9 to 5 Mac explains what was and is actually happening. The report has security researcher Jessica Klassen on Mastodon calling attention to the so-called inactivity reboot. This is a feature that the piece says is designed to automatically reboot an iPhone if it hasn't been unlocked within a certain period of time. 9 to 5 Mac has Corellium founder Chris Wade saying in a report from 404 Media that the period of time is more than 4 days without being used. 9 to 5 Mac says the feature will thwart thieves and other bad actors. Police say it thwarts, the police. After a reboot, the piece explains, an iPhone will enter the before first unlock state and become significantly harder to unlock. And what says Apple on the issue? A big bag of its usual nothing. Apple hasn't commented on this change, according to 9 to 5 Mac. That said, the piece says interested parties can view the relevant code changes in iOS 18 on GitHub. New week, new round of OS betas for developers. Mac Rumors ran a piece Monday saying Apple had seeded the third developer betas of iOS 18.2, iPadOS 18.2, and macOS Sequoia 15.2 to the developing crew. Those were accompanied by the second developer betas of watchOS 11.2, tvOS 18.2, and HomePod software 18.2. Members in Apple's public testing program can likely expect corresponding betas today or tomorrow. If you want to be ready, info is waiting at beta.apple.com. Apple has announced a few new partnerships tied to its Find My service. Available in Monday's iOS 18.2 beta, the company issued a press release on the upcoming feature, Share Item Location. Apple describes that as a new iOS feature that helps users locate and recover misplaced items by easily and securely sharing the location of an AirTag or Find My network accessory with third parties, such as Airlines. Kind of awesome, huh? We pay the airlines $50 per checked bag, and then, because we're nice, I guess, we also keep track of our bags for them. You have got to be me. The way the release describes it, users can generate a share item location link in the Find My app on their iPhone, iPad, or Mac. Recipients of a link will be able to view a website that shows the location of the item on an interactive map. The website will automatically update when a new location is available and will show a timestamp of the most recent update. Apple says over 15 airlines will start accepting Find My item locations in the coming months. Among them are the always dirty-sounding Aer Lingus, Air Canada, British Airways, Delta, KLM, Lufthansa, Qantas, Virgin Atlantic, and a host of others. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Inactivity, helping you take back your personal data. Taking it back from data brokers, companies that compile info about all of us, then sell it for all kinds of uses like targeting us with ads and spam. Plus, having our info in so many places leaves us more vulnerable to identity theft and other criminal activity. You can ask those brokers to take your info down, but do you know who they are? And do you have that kind of time? That's what's great about Inactivity. They do all of that, and they do it repeatedly. Checking my personal Inactivity dashboard, of the nearly 200 requests they have sent on my behalf, well over 100 have been completed, while over 30 of those have my info on their suppression list. That means they will never recollect any personal information that could be associated with me, all thanks to Inactivity. And they can do it for you too. Make an account, give them permission to work on your behalf, and Inactivity goes to work. Yeah, it might feel strange giving them your information, but your information is already out there. Inactivity helps you take it back. So do it. Take your personal data back with Inactivity. Get 60% off an annual plan with code MacOSKen at inactivity.com/MacOSKen. They've got plans for individuals as well as plans to cover friends and family, and they come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. INCOGNI. Join the huge community of people who have control over their personal data with Inactivity. Get 60% off an annual plan with code MacOSKen at inactivity.com/MacOSKen. If you're wondering what will goose subscriptions to Apple TV Plus, this show will not be it, but you will appreciate my use of the word goose in a moment. The Cupertino video streamer issued a press release Monday announcing a new nature docuseries, The Secret Lives of Animals. Goose, get it? According to the release, The Secret Lives of Animals highlights 77 unique species in 24 countries over 3 years, revealing stunning, never-before-seen animal behaviors and highlighting the remarkable intelligence of the natural world. Lending his voice for narration is the Earl of Grantham himself, Hugh Bonneville. Hailing from the acclaimed BBC Studios Natural History Unit, it seems the entirety of the 10-part series will hit Apple TV Plus on Wednesday, the 18th of December. A neat new music thing for a very few of you, Part 1. Those of you sporting an Apple Vision Pro can head into the weekend with The Weeknd. Upload VR says the musician's Apple Immersive Video Music Experience releases for the headset this Thursday, the 14th of November. For those who have not had the pleasure, the piece says the Apple Immersive Video format is 180-degree video with 8K resolution, stereoscopic 3D, high dynamic range, and spatial audio. It served in the Apple TV app at a much higher bitrate than many other immersive video platforms, according to the report. Apple says the experience will let consumers journey alongside the Weeknd through a surreal, haunting cityscape in this electrifying sonic voyage. While it may sound like a lot of work for a very small number of viewers, folks don't have to own one to take part. The piece says the company plans to play the Weeknd's immersive music experience in retail locations that offer Vision Pro demos. Fittingly, the Weeknd demos start on Friday, the 15th of November. And finally today, a neat new music thing for a very few of you, Part 2. What do tone deafness and Apple Music have in common? A $450 hardback book. 9to5Mac says the streaming music service, celebrating its 9th year, if memory serves, has announced that it's publishing a hardcover book to commemorate the 100 best albums ever, a list the streamer compiled earlier this year. With a release limited to 1,500 copies, the piece says the books are housed in sleek, transparent acrylic slipcases, each individually etched with its edition number. 9to5Mac says there are 97 included illustrations, meaning 3 of the albums won't have any art to go with them. It's got a foreword by Zane Lowe, though, and you say to yourself, wow, how'd they get him? If the website for the publisher, Azuline, is to be believed, the books are all hand-bound. As somebody who has dabbled in that for the past year, I know that can be time-consuming, and you can certainly run up the cost if you're not careful. That said, a $450 book in a hard plastic case from the second most valuable company on the planet, which prides itself on environmental attentiveness and leaving the world better than it found it, kind of leaves a bad taste. Still, if that's your jam on it. Apple Music 100 Best Albums is available for pre-order now. It's expected to ship by the end of this month. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOSKen at incogni.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.